Hi everybody, it's Ginny and today I have a cool story for you. Because yesterday I got some foster babies. I got 6 Budgie babies. So I wanted to tell you their story and how they're doing. So this is going to be part 1 of this little series of shelter stories, I guess. So yesterday I went to work and the animal ambulance brought in a lot of baby birds. It's summer vacation in Holland, so a lot of shelters are full and some of the birds of other shelters were coming into our shelter. So that's why we got a lot of baby birds in yesterday. We got some swallows, some blackbird babies and also some baby budgies. And because baby budgies are not native in Holland, they are a domesticated species here in Holland. My colleagues asked me if I wanted to be a foster for these little budgies. All of us are fosters for a lot of kinds of animals. Me personally, I take care of a lot of the birds and the chickens and stuff. So I got in these 6 baby budgies yesterday and immediately I saw that one of the baby budgies was very much smaller than the rest of them. Actually 2 were, but one of the 2 was really active and really agile and still a little bit bigger than the smallest one. But that happens, you know, sometimes you have a little runt of the litter and they just grow a little slower and they just need a little more time to grow up. So we went to the vets and the vet checked them really quickly because it was a really busy day, so we had to do it a bit quickly and I had to head home. So I headed home and I started feeding the little budgies. I'm feeding them NutriBird A21, not sponsored, but that's just the food that I got for them. It's a sort of, it's powder and you mix it with water and it makes a soup-like consistency, and it has all kinds of stuff that is really healthy for the baby birds. They are a bit older already and they already eat seeds, thankfully. That makes my job a lot easier, but it's also good for all the vitamins and all that stuff if they get a little bit of this stuff still. So yeah, I was feeding all my budgies. I gave them a little place in the house, but when I got to the little runt of the litter, I saw that he had a limp leg. He was not using the leg at all. It was just kind of hanging there and he was not putting any weight on it. He was not using it to climb or whatever, but he was still really active. That's why we didn't notice it at first, because he was still climbing with his other leg and his beak. He was still running around, climbing, doing all kinds of crazy budgie stuff, so we didn't really notice it at the vet. But now that I was at home and I had the time to look at every one of them, I saw that his leg was really limp and that he wasn't using it, so that's obviously not a good sign. So I called our vet and told him the story, and we arranged a meeting for the next day, next morning, to make an x-ray of his little leg. I called him Bob, by the way. I don't even know yet if he's a boy or a girl. I think he's gonna be a boy, looking at his little beak color, but I'm not sure. But for now, he's just called Bob, Bob the Budgie. As I explained in my other video about shelters in Holland, we have a little vet clinic and we also have a little x-ray machine that is built for tooth x-rays. But it's so small and Bob the Budgie is really small, so it was perfect to make an x-ray of his leg. And when we made the x-ray of his leg, we saw that his leg was broken, sadly. So after this, we had to figure out what to do with him because he's so tiny. What do you do with this tiny little bird that has a broken leg? But thankfully we have a really great vet and she's really a bird lover, and even if she wasn't, she was going to do everything she can to help this little bird. So we made a splint, and this was quite a difficult thing to figure out because you need such a tiny splint for such a tiny leg. And we looked around all of the shelter to find something that we can use as a splint. And finally we found like a thick electricity cable that was really sturdy, and we cut it to size and we could use that as a splint. So it took a little while and it's not perfect, but now he has a splinted leg. We also took an x-ray after that to make sure that everything was in place. Sadly, it was not really in place the best way ever, so it's best when you have the leg and it's broken. As you can see in the picture, it was like this. It's for the best healing, of course it's best if you put the break like this, but Sadly, we couldn't really do that because it was just so tiny. It was so hard to splint his leg. So it ended up like a little bit like this. But I'll show you the picture of that too. But she thinks, the vet says, he's probably going to be fine. It's going to probably build a bridge from one part of the bone to the other part of the bone. So it's probably going to heal just fine, good enough for him to get around on his two legs and to use his leg again. So we think he's going to be alright. Okay, I'm back. Rosie escaped, so I had to do a little pony catching action. But everything's alright. Where was I? So his leg is splinted now, and we just need to wait for a few weeks to see if it heals up. So I hope that the splint will stay on. So that's a bit tricky because it was really tricky to get it on. I hope it will stay on. We did our best. So if it stays on in 2 weeks, I'm going to go back to the shelter and we're going to make another x-ray and check up if his leg is healing correctly. So we're just going to have to wait till then how everything's going and if it's going to heal correctly. For now, I'm just going to have to take care of the little Bob the Budgie. I'm actually carrying him around in my sports bra a lot of the time because he fits exactly in the cleavage, which is a very cozy spot for him. And the rest of the time he's in a big box. He's separated from the rest because the rest was just bullying a bit too much. He has a lot of feathers picked out because they were just a bit too rough for him, especially with his limp leg. So he has a big box for himself with food and water and a little mirror, so he still has sort of a little bit of company. And I'm just going to take the best care of him that I can, also of the rest of the group, of course. So they are together in a little bird cage, and right now they are outside chilling in the sun. So the rest of the time they will be inside. It's a good temperature right now, so it's nice for them. Yeah, I'll keep you updated on everything that's going on with him. Probably in about 2 weeks, maybe earlier, maybe later. It depends on how it's going. So see you then. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you liked this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of these kind of videos. And I'll see you next time for part 2 of Bob the Budgie's recovery. Bye bye, have a nice day. So yesterday I went to work and the animal ambulance brought in some baby budgies. The animal ambulance. Blah, 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 blah. Words. Okay.